Welcome to the Not in Vegas podcast with Sheila Hall, where she shares what goes on in Vegas doesn't stay in your body.
Hello, I just want to ask you one simple question. If you found yourself saying, I'm doing everything right, so why isn't my body responding? Then this episode is for you. Hello, everyone. This is Sheila Hall. Welcome to the Not in Vegas podcast, where I share some inspiration, education, and maybe a little couple of things that you probably didn't know about menopause and what goes on in Vegas. Because as I always say, what goes on in Vegas doesn't really stay in Vegas, not when it comes to your wellness. So many women come into my spa and they are like frustrated, discouraged, and quietly blaming themselves. And the first thing I tell them is this: your body didn't betray you. Your body changed seasons. After 40, and especially through menopause, the rules change. And no one really explains that to us. So today I want to talk about why the midlife body holds on differently and why understanding this can be the most freeing thing that you'll hear this year. So let's start with hormones because they set the whole tone for everything. You know, we always hear about menopause and estrogen. Estrogen this, estrogen that. But estrogen doesn't just regulate reproduction or falls off during menopause. It affects where fat is stored, how fluid is retained, your skin thickness and elasticity, and inflammation levels. So as estrogen declines, the body becomes more protective. So fat storage shifts towards the abdomen. That's why, we can't lose that belly fat. And fluid retention increases. Why you always feel so puffy, inflamed, and the skin responds more slowly. Sagging skin, wrinkles. This is not your body being stubborn. It's your body being adaptive. So, why trying harder stops working? Here's where women get stuck. As women, we do more, we push harder, we restrict, we punish. But midlife bodies just doesn't respond to force the way the younger bodies do. I know this, and I know this very well. During the time that I used to work out really, really aggressively, I used to lift up heavy weights. I did cardio, about 5 to 6 times a week. I was really into it when I started menopause because I knew those are the things that I had to do. But after a point, everything just stopped. I couldn't lose any weight. I didn't gain any, but I couldn't lose any. It was like my body just stopped. And my trainer used to always tell me like, you're eating junk food or you're not working out or something. And I'm like, I am staying on schedule. I'm eating clean. I'm working out. Nothing's happening. He didn't believe me. This is crazy because that's the reason why I started studying functional medicine. I had to find out what was the root cause. Why was I being stuck? And one of the things that was so profound was I found that aggressive approaches increase cortisol. And cortisol tells the body, hold on, protect, conserve. So instead of releasing, the body tightens. It won't move. It won't go anywhere. It won't make you lose weight. This is why many women say, I'm eating less and gaining weight. I'm exercising more and seeing less change. Your body is responding to stress, not effort. I want to say something gently but clearly. Holding on is not failure. Holding on is communication. The body holds when lymph is congested, hormones are fluctuating, skin is thinning, fascia is tight, the nervous system feels unsafe. When we stop fighting and start supporting, something shifts. This is where midlife care must be treated differently. This is not the same thing that we used to do when we were younger. Our whole program of the way we take care of our bodies has changed, and we must adapt to that change. So if this episode helps something like click for you, I want you to know you're not alone and you're not broken. So throughout this month, we'll talk about lymph, skin, stress, and why midlife bodies need a different approach. And if you're local, I'm in the Randallstown area in Maryland. So if you're local and curious about what supportive care looks like, you can always message me the word FLOW, FLOW, even if it's just to ask a question. And matter of fact, you don't even have to be local. You can be anywhere because I do telehealth. So, we can always get on Zoom or whatever if you need more help with menopausal support. Or if you just want to ask me some questions, because the body is wise. It's just speaking a new language now. So thank you for joining me for Why the Body Holds On Differently After 40. And please join me again next week as we'll talk about swelling isn't fat. What? Please, please, please share this episode with your friends, family, neighbors, and join me next week as we have another episode of the Not in Vegas podcast.
Not the old me who faded to gray, not the broken me who gave it away, not the exhausted one lost in the haze. This is a new dawn, a brighter